It came in the mail. Nice. This is for all my camera stuff, as well as it can hold all my work stuff too. Super excited about this. It's this is not a review of this backpack, but I'm just going to show you what's it's different compartments. So this is like, you can put stuff in. This is, I think, it's pretty nice. Like that. It's pretty cool. I like this right here for like laptop. Can fit right in there. Just a little compartment there on the side. Another little one. Check to see kind of how this. Definitely needs to be broken in, but this is going to work out good. Welcome to day 50 of the vlog, and we are looking at Leviticus chapter 23 through 25. In chapter 23, God lists all the feasts that He wants His people to observe: Sabbath, Passover, first fruits, weeks, trumpets, Day of Atonement, and booths. Then in chapter 24, we see God giving instruction to His people to bring oil for the golden lampstand that is in the tent of meeting. The 12 pieces of bread that are meant to go on the table of showbread are instructed to be made, and this bread was meant to be eaten by the priest. Then there's this narrative about someone who was quarreling with someone outside or near the camp, and they blasphemed the name of the Lord, and God commands that that person be stoned to death. And then the chapter wraps up with kind of this eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type of instruction in terms of when people do stuff to other people. Then we come to chapter 25, where God commands His people to acknowledge the Sabbath year, as well as instruction for the year of Jubilee, and then kind of wraps up the chapter with instructions really of how people are meant to deal with each other, with their land, and it really is this heart of showing kindness and redeeming and restoring things to people. You know, much like a lot of these sections that we've covered so far in Leviticus, there seems to be a lot of different things kind of compiled together, and it can be difficult to pull an overarching truth with all of these things. But I found it interesting that in chapter 25, verse 25 through 27, there's instructions about redeeming land that belongs to someone, and it's kind of that idea of like the kinsman redeemer. And we find this actually taking place in the book of Ruth. Now, we'll cover the book of Ruth some time from now, but ultimately this section that's talked about, the heart of it is redemption and restoration. When we read the book of Ruth, I encourage you to read it right now. That's exactly the heart of the book, redemption and restoration. And ultimately, this is culminated in Christ himself. That when he comes, he's going to redeem and restore all things back unto God. He's going to redeem and restore people back unto God that put their faith and belief in Christ. And at the end of the age, when Jesus comes back, he rules and reigns for 1,000 years. He destroys Satan, destroys the Antichrist and the beast, and makes a new heaven and new earth. Everything will be restored and redeemed. And that's what we look forward to. And this is just another thing that I saw in these sections, but the last few parts of chapter 25, when it talks about redeeming and restoring land unto people, God is speaking to those people that would be in a position of having authority over certain people, that if you were to bring them in as a servant or a slave, that you don't treat them as a slave in the sense of abusing them, but realize that they are your brother, they are your sister, they are your fellow Israelite, and your heart for them is to put them back in a position where they have ownership of the things that they once lost. And I think that, especially for us as a church and as we engage and interact with each other today, too often we think in this competitive mentality that I'm trying to be more holy or more spiritual than that person or this person, or that I am better than that person. And that's not God's heart. God's heart is for us to always seek how we can redeem and restore one another in being in right relationship with each other and ultimately with the Lord. Guys, we just have one day left in Leviticus. It's kind of sad.